Hello students, today we are going to study transportation of materials in humans. Okay, so when we talk about transportation of material in humans, okay, it is carried by two systems, that is the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. So actually what happened, what are transported? The carbon dioxide, oxygen, food, hormones, etc. are transported in our bodies, isn't it? And it is transported through circulatory system and lymphatic system. When we talk about a circulatory system, okay, consists of blood, heart and blood vessels. Okay, when we talk about blood is formed of plasma, RBC, WBC and blood platelets. Okay. Now, this plasma is only the liquid portion of the blood. Okay. And this RBC, WBC and platelets, they are in the solid form, but they are present in the plasma. And yes, when you get a cut, you can't see this RBC, WBC and platelets because they are very, very small in size and thereby it is present in the plasma. This which type of solution it is forming? A colloidal solution. Okay. So here in which you can't see the particles present in the solvent. So here which is acting as solvent? Plasma. And these are what? RBC, WBC and blood platelets? Solute. Okay. In that term if you understand. So this is forming a colloidal solution, total blood. Okay. So when we talk about this plasma, okay, this plasma is light yellow in color. Okay. Light yellow or you can say hay color. Okay. This basically carries everything, all the things, CO2, urea, uric acid, bile pigments, okay, all are carried by this plasma. Okay. Now coming to RBC. RBC means red blood corpuscles. It is also known as erythrocytes. Okay. When we talk about its shape, okay, its shape is disc shaped, okay, disc shaped or round shaped. Okay. Does it consist of any nucleus? No nucleus present. Okay. Now, here this RBC consists of what? Hemoglobin. So, hemoglobin is the carrier of what? O2. It means oxygen. So, RBC carries oxygen. Okay. And this hemoglobin, when we see, it is red in color. Why it is red in color? Because iron is present in that. Okay. This RBC, about the lifespan of RBC, it is 120 days. Okay. After 120 days, it dies off. Okay. Now, WBC. This WBC is the white blood corpuscles. Okay. When we talk about its shape, no fixed shape. Okay. When we talk about the nucleus, yes, nucleus is present in WBC. So what is the function of WBC basically? It first fights against the germs which enters our body. Okay. It fights against the diseases. Thereby, it also provides immunity to us. Okay. So very important WBC also. Now, talking about the blood platelets. Okay. This blood platelets is also in the solid form. It helps in what? The blood clotting. Okay. By forming a total network in which what happens? These get trapped and naturally it forms a clot. Okay. Now, heart. Next part of circulatory system is heart. Okay. So this heart actually what does it do? blood which comes from the lungs, okay, the oxygenated blood which comes from the lungs is pumped to all the body parts where it oxidizes the digested food. And what is produced? ATP and carbon dioxide. ATP is used by us, okay, and carbon dioxide is released out. Basically, carbon dioxide is carried by what? The plasma of the blood. So this carbon dioxide is carried by the plasma of the blood, okay, and the whole process will be studying right now. How does our heart works, okay, and thereby taking this carbon dioxide, deoxygenated blood, and then removing it through our nose, this carbon dioxide, by the process of exhalation, which we have already studied in the previous class. Okay. Now, so what are these blood vessels? Okay. These blood vessels are basically the artery, the vein, and the artery blood capillaries. Okay. So, these are the blood vessels which carry the blood. Okay. So, artery basically carries the oxygenated blood. Okay. But yes, everything has exception here. Pulmonary artery carries what? Deoxygenated blood. There is an exception for this. Okay. Now veins. Veins carry deoxygenated blood. But pulmonary vein, exception is there. It carries the oxygenated blood. These blood capillaries, where these arteries and the veins ends, okay, it becomes more finer in nature, and that is known as what? The blood capillaries. Because if it is not becoming fine, the diffusion will not be proper. So what happens when they terminate, okay, they form blood capillaries with thin walls totally. So now let us study about the heart. If we talk about the heart, okay, so what would be the size of the heart? It is just the size of the fist, okay, this small only the heart is, okay. Now let us study about, know about the parts of the heart first, okay. So starting from here, okay, left side, pulmonary vein, left auricle or left atrium, okay, bicuspid valve, left ventricle, semilunar valve, aorta, okay, and we can see here a septum, okay, which is dividing these two, okay, the left ventricle and the right ventricle, as well as left auricle and right auricle, okay. Here can see this is the right ventricle, this is the right auricle or right atrium. Here the valve present is known as tricuspid valve, okay, pulmonary artery, and yes, the vena cava, okay. Now let us study in the detail how the process is going on, okay. So here the whole heart, when we see that yes, it is covered by what? Very strong muscles, that are the coronary muscles, okay, because it has to pump the blood to whole body, isn't it? So in respiration we have studied that yes, the blood carrying oxygen moves towards the heart. By what does it move? It moves through the pulmonary vein. So this pulmonary vein brings the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. Okay. So this blood is coming from where? The lungs. Okay. Through what? Through pulmonary vein. Okay. So blood, oxygenated blood, carrying oxygen, isn't it? So oxygenated blood enters the left auricle or the left atrium. Okay. And when it enters, it creates pressure, and as the result, this bicuspid valve opens. Okay. When this valve opens, what happens here? the blood flows inside the ventricle, that is the left ventricle. Okay, and here when the blood moves on to the left ventricle, this bicuspid valve closes. Okay, and here this contraction occurs and the blood moves from the aorta. What happens before that? This semilunar valves opens and the blood moves from the aorta to the different parts of the body cells where the digested food is present. Okay, so here where the digested food is present, what happens? The blood reaches to that position. Okay, suppose digested food is present over here. Okay, capillaries, blood capillaries, small blood capillaries. Okay, device, because here the diffusion has to take place. It oxidizes the food present over here, thereby the releasing what? ATP and carbon dioxide. This CO2 is again taken up by the capillaries. Okay, blood capillaries. Then it goes to the vein, and then to the main vein we can see that is the vena cava. Okay, so from this vena cava is now for carrying what? The deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood enters this right auricle or the right atrium. Okay, and when it enters the right atrium, it creates pressure. Okay, it creates pressure, and as the result, what happens? This tricuspid valve opens and the blood now moves to the right ventricle. Okay, and as when it moves to the right ventricle, once the blood has reached over here, what happens? This tricuspid valve gets closed so that the backflow of blood is stopped. Okay, and now here whole blood has came, naturally it will create pressure, so now it will pump the blood through this semilunar valve. What happens? It opens and it moves to the pulmonary artery. So this pulmonary artery is carrying what? Deoxygenated blood which goes to the lungs. Okay, and here carbon dioxide is diffused in the alveoli, and thus it moves through the process of bronchioles, bronchus, okay, trachea and nostrils and out. Okay, so with the flow chart, let us study it. This I have shown you through the heart with the flow chart. Okay, the blood is entering where? The left auricle or atrium also you can say. Okay, and from here it enters the the left ventricle. Okay, from the ventricle it moves to aorta. Okay, from the aorta it moves to the smaller blood vessels. Okay, where it provides this oxygenated blood to the cells where the digested food is present. It oxidizes the digested food, thereby releasing out what? ATP and carbon dioxide. Okay, so here this carbon dioxide, okay, taken again by the blood capillaries to the veins. Okay, here it was what? Artery. What was here? Here it was artery. Okay, and here what it is? It is vein. Okay, and this goes and then it moves to where? The vena cava. This is the main vein. Okay, and this is the main artery. Okay, now from this vena cava it reaches where? The right auricle. From right auricle to right ventricle, and from the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery. Okay. So blood coming from pulmonary vein enters the left auricle, from where it goes to the left ventricle, then to aorta, which is the main artery, okay, and then divides into blood capillaries. Thereby here the diffusion of the gases takes place. Oxygen is being used up by oxidizing the food present, the digested food, thereby releasing ATP and carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is taken again by the blood capillaries and then to the vein and then to the main vein, that is vena cava, and then to the right auricle and then to the right ventricle and then by pulmonary artery to the lungs. So this whole process takes place in this circulation of the blood. Okay. So now here, let us discuss some question. What is the function of this septum present over here in the heart? Actually, this septum divides this right ventricle and the left ventricle and right auricle and the left auricle. Okay, why? If division is not there, what will be there? There will be intermixing of the blood. Here you can see in the left side, in the left auricle, left ventricle, we are seeing what? We are seeing oxygenated blood. But in the right auricle and ventricle, we are seeing deoxygenated blood. If the septum is not present, it will be mixed. And the efficiency of this will be reduced because more efficient working will not be there. Okay. Now, next, what is the function of this bicuspid and tricuspid valve? Okay, if these valves are not present, what happens if once the blood has flown to the ventricles? Okay, here there can be a black backflow of the blood, isn't it? So, in order to prevent that backflow of the blood, this bicuspid and tricuspid valves are present. Okay, that is same with the semilunar valves also. Okay, now here, if we are seeing about this, the membrane of or the wall of the heart, it is known as pericardium. Okay, and it is made of strong coronary muscles. Why it is made up of strong muscles, beta? Because it has to pump the blood. And yes, it is pumping the blood to the whole body. So it has to pump with a great force. And if the strong muscles are present, then only this can happen, isn't it? Now, here, when we talk about the pulmonary artery, it is carrying what? Deoxygenated blood. When we are talking about this pulmonary vein, it is carrying what? Oxygenated blood. When we are talking about aorta, it is taking the oxygenated blood to the whole body cells. Okay, when digested food is present. And when we are talking about vena cava, it is the main vein which is carrying the deoxygenated blood. Okay, now coming to the words love and doubt. Okay, what are these? Okay, so here what happens, actually the blood is entering, okay, from the pulmonary vein to the left auricle. Okay, and here the bicuspid valve gets open and the blood moves on to the left ventricle. Okay, and when it moves on to the left ventricle, what happens at that time? What is closed? The semilunar valve is closed. Okay, and once this left ventricle has got the blood, what happens? Pressure is created, it contracts, and as soon as it contracts, within a fraction of a second before only, this bicuspid valve gets closed and the semilunar valve gets open. So this closing of this bicuspid valve produces the sound, that is the love sound. Okay, and once the blood has moved out of the semilunar valve to the aorta, to the body, naturally now what happens here, the pressure is released. Okay, and this semilunar valve gets closed, producing the sound, that is the dub sound. This is not only with this left auricle and the in the left auricle, that is the bicuspid valve, and the semilunar valve over here, it happens in this also in the right hand side also with the tricuspid and the semilunar while producing the voice or the sound that is love and dub. Now, so what is double circulation? Actually, double circulation means the circulation is being twice, isn't it? So here, actually, two circulations are there. One is the pulmonary, okay, circulation, pulmonary, and another is the systemic. As the word comes pulmonary involves the lungs, and as the word comes systemic, that involves the body. Now let us see what is this. See here, the blood, oxygenated blood is coming from the lungs to the heart, to the left auricle. Okay, and here in the we are seeing in the right here the pulmonary artery. Okay, this is taking the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So here blood is coming from the lungs to the heart. Here blood is going from the heart to the lungs. Okay, that is known as what? The pulmonary circulation. Okay, now the blood from aorta reaches the body, different body parts, okay, where digested food is present and it is being oxidized, okay, and then again taking away of the deoxygenated blood through the vena cava to the heart, okay. So here we are seeing what? The same blood is coming, okay, and moving through the heart two times. And two pathways are there, the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation, okay. So, as the result, giving it a double circulation. Now, what are heartbeats? Heartbeats, it is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart. Okay, that is known as heartbeats. Now, then what is blood pressure? Actually, the pressure by which the blood is flowing in our blood vessels is known as blood pressure. What is the normal blood pressure of a human being? That is 120 upon 80. Okay, this is the normal figure. Okay, and yes, if it is more or less, then it means there is an anomaly. Okay, and how do we measure the blood pressure? By sphygmomanometer. Okay, and how do we hear the heartbeat? With the help of the stethoscope. So this is students all for today. Good day. Take care.